Hey everyone. So I'm just going to quickly walk you through the next outside reading project virtually, and that way you can just get started on it as soon as you want, and all of this information is available for you to come back to if you ever have any questions about this. And I just think it'll be nice to have this in video form. So basically, for the next outside reading project, it's going to be really similar again to the past couple projects that you guys have done, and it's really just going to be different visual options again. So I'm first just going to quickly run through the writing portion, because that's usually what people start with. You can start that really anytime, and you can do that in the process of reading your book as well if you want. So basically what you're looking for, in terms of, and what you're going for in terms of the writing at the end, is that you are eventually going to pick out two important quotes from your book, and you're going to include a brief paragraph that explains the importance of each quote. So you would have two different paragraphs related to two different quotes, and they usually relate to some major conflicts or themes, and you would just pick out any. It's really free to pick out whichever ones that you think are important, and people have done a really good job with this in the past, and then basically just explaining to the reader of your project why those two quotes are important. And then you also just want to make sure that you cite your quotes. That's important too, so add that in there. And then the next piece of writing is to also, in a similar way, pick out two major themes that were present throughout the book. So, and along with this, you would include a brief paragraph that describes why each theme was important, how it played a role in your book, and all of that. And just a reminder here too that themes really, they're messages that the author is trying to send to readers of their book through the story that they wrote. So a theme would not be one word. You would want to have a theme that is a message, essentially. So, you can really do this on anything. But if you were to talk about struggle, for example, the word struggle itself would not be a theme. But if you were talking, you could frame it in many ways. You could talk about how the author is trying to show that when you struggle, you benefit, and you become stronger for it. Maybe that's the message that the author is sending through their book. Or maybe they're doing the opposite. Maybe they're saying that struggle is negative, and it can cause bad things. And so it really can be in a lot of different ways, and it just depends on what you are trying to take out of the book, and what you think that the author is trying to have readers take away from the book. So that's the important part of picking themes. So you would choose two of those, and then you would just have short paragraphs explaining each of them, and what their role is. And then finally, you would just have a one-page summary analysis of the book, discussing major plot and characters and any related analysis. And also you should include your personal review at the end. And with the personal review, you're just going to talk about, did you like it? If you did like it, who would you recommend the book to? Maybe even if you didn't like it, who do you think you would recommend the book to? Maybe it's very historically based, and you're not someone who likes history, but you would maybe recommend it to someone who likes historical documents or historical fiction or something like that. So those are the components of the writing, and you can include those on the visual themselves. And then in the same way as well, as last time, where you come in and you're going to do an in-class presentation, it's going to be the same thing this time, where you'll come in and you'll have a very brief and kind of casual talk on about the book that you read, and you just treat it like you are sharing with a friend what book you read, what the book was about, and any major important themes and quotes from the book, and you would talk about your review. So all of that are the components of the presentation, and I'll have written on the backboard some notes for you so that you can go through those. And then, so getting to just the actual visual options for this time. So the first one, and what I'm kind of suggesting people do for this one, is that you create some cartoon or graphic novel tiles. So if you've ever read a graphic novel, it basically is told in a series of pictures that a lot of the times have words within the pictures as well, but they also sometimes have explanations along with each of the tiles of what might be happening, or extra details. And so your job, if you choose to do this visual option, would be to draw or otherwise visually create a series of at least 6 drawings in 6 different squares to show one or more significant events from the book that you read. So what I mean by that too is that you could do a series of 6 different scenes. Maybe you're going to take the 6 most important scenes and you're going to draw one picture of those 6 different scenes. And they'll be next to each other, and under each you would explain what's happening in the scene. Or another way that you could do it is that you could do 6 different sequential moments from the same scene. So maybe you're going to take a really, really important scene and you're going to break down that one scene into 6 different pivotal moments that happen in chronological order. And so you'd basically be walking the viewer through the scene that you are creating or recreating. And so with that, you can also, in terms of how you make the visual, you could draw it, you could paint it, you could outline and trace different drawings that you see online. You could use paper cutouts of pictures, or you could just create silhouettes and borders or objects from cutting out paper, or you could use an online program to create the tiles. So there's a ton of different ways for you to do this. You don't necessarily have to be someone who likes drawing in order to do really well on this. And I've had really, really good ones come out from this in the past, even from kids who claim to be unartistic. There's really a lot of options here and ways for you to make this work for yourself. And for each tile, ideally you're making it colorful. It should be, I'm saying 4 by 4 inches in size, just because it should be large enough that people can see it. I'm going to display these in the classroom, and so you want to make sure that they're big enough to be viewed by other people. And also you want your visual to represent the most important pieces of your book, and with that you want to represent the importance of each scene by including any details that are relevant and important to the scene. So if there's an object that's really important to the scene, but it's between 2 people talking, you'd want to include that object in the background somehow, right? Or maybe a setting that's really important, you could include the background of the setting, some iconic image of it. So there's a ton of different ways for you to go about this, and you can be as creative as you want. I definitely encourage that. The better it looks, the more fun that you have with it, and the better it's going to look. So with that, obviously your goal is to make it look really nice. No matter how you choose to create the visual, you should obviously put effort into making it look nice, obviously. And you want to go for kind of like a polished or finished, complete product. You don't want to hand something in that looks like it was half done or done in a couple minutes. And just put effort into it and use it as this culminating factor, because it is one of the largest projects that goes in, and so it's always a really good way to boost your grade. And the more fun you have with it, I think the better you're going to do with it. And then the second option, if you don't like the graphic novel or cartoon tiles option, is that basically you can do anything else that works for you, and I'm just leaving that very open because I don't want to confine it too much and dictate what you're doing for the second option. And so if that top one doesn't work for you, or you're like, I can't imagine doing that, I really don't want to, then you could also do something else. You would want to pick something that uses your talents, so whatever things you're good at, you could use that, and you would want to demonstrate your understanding of the book that you read. You also want to keep it kind of on par in terms of expectations with the other project, just because that way it makes it fair and easy to grade still. And so if you're struggling to come up with alternative ideas, definitely come talk to me and we can figure out alternative options, because I have done a ton of different options for students. I've helped students come up with a bunch of different ones. And I've seen students do a ton of different options. So definitely come and talk to me. And we can figure out a way to make it work for you. I don't want this to be a problem for you. I would much rather you be happy with whatever you're going to be doing, and excited about it. So that is definitely the goal. And if you're going to do the reader's choice and you're going to do some alternative, just submit a brief written proposal to me, which really is just in the form of an email. So you would just let me know in email at least 1 week prior to the final due date. So this is going to depend on which class you're in. And so I'll fill this in and I'll update you in person. But if you're curious, you can just ask me as well, and I will let you know when you should do that. But it would be within the next week or so. And then finally, for this one, I also included just some examples of what the storyboard tiles might look like. These are ones that I found on the internet because, again, all my examples got recycled last year. So I don't have ones from past students of mine, but I went online and I looked up some, and I thought these were really some good options and kind of good examples for you to look at. So this first one, I think this is really beautiful and it's well done. This is someone who definitely enjoyed the artistic aspect of this, but they would just need the explanations under each tile. And then the same thing with this one. This one, again, it's really well done. They included a lot of different words. They broke it up different. It's really colorful. It's awesome. And the same thing, you would just need explanations under each tile. And then finally, this last one is an example of a storyboard that a student created on a website called Storyboard That. And it's an online program basically that helps you to create storyboards, and you can pull different backgrounds and things like that. So if you're someone who likes learning how to use computer programs or likes maybe video games or something like that, this might be a good option for you, because there is a little bit of a learning curve to it of getting it to look nice. And making it representative of what you are going for with your book. But if you're interested in this, it's a really, really cool option that you could definitely do as well. So this is an example of what that might look like as well. And yeah, those are the ones that I included on there. I can always try to find some others as well. But this is the outside reading project for this term. And so please let me know if you have any questions. And as always, you can go back through here and listen to this. Or you can, of course, just come talk to me if you are wondering how to do something or you want some extra guidance on anything here. All right, let me know if you have any questions, okay?